So now we've got the next slide. So we're up to, this must be slide 4. Why do we still have this problem? I'm like, well, you know, at this stage, I'm still not sure what the problem is. Now, I've got that text on the slide 2. I just jump back where it says there are more people in modern slavery right now than across the entire 400 years of the transatlantic slave trade. That's a very powerful sentence. But I'd probably need a bit more information about that, right? So I'm already a bit lost. I understand it's a problem. That captured me. The small boy didn't at this stage. But that captured me, and that picture doesn't capture me of the young people picking cotton, but the picture of the African miners captured me. And what I could do with right now is some information about what's the story of those miners, but not only the miners, what's the story globally. And so then by the time I get to slide 4, I've got you're telling me about the problem. But instead, we've got, why do we still have this problem? And understand that I'm already feeling a bit confused when I get to this slide. And if you have a look at this slide, it's covered in words and images. And it's starting to get some information, but I'm starting to already like, you know, wow, I've just had this magnificent picture that's touched my heart about these African miners. I've had my emotions stimulated by that powerful image. And this is your objective at this stage of your presentation. You've got to stimulate the emotions of the people who are receiving this slide deck to understand this is a problem. Now, this is particularly the case here with Slave Free Trade, who's an NGO, a non-profit. But it's the same if you're an entrepreneur trying to set up a business. It's the same. You're going to someone and you're 10,000th in line. You need to inspire them to understand what you're going to be doing, what your business is about. And more investors are looking at businesses that have this environmental and social issues embedded in them. So it's not, this question about touching people's emotions is not just restricted to the idea of non-profits. It's the same if you're trying to set up a for-profit business, okay? So we come to this slide. Current tools still leave us blind. Audit and certification, the current go-to, offers a snapshot of an estimated 0.08 of a supply chain. So you're assuming a lot of knowledge there. First thing is audit and certification. Most businesses or most rich people or philanthropists or donor organisations will understand what audit and certification is. That's okay. The current go-to. What does that mean? I guess it means that that's what people are looking to use to deal with slavery. I guess what that means. But I have to guess that. It's not clear to me. You're not taking me by the hand and leading me through a story, over a bridge, through a forest, crossing a river to the point where you need to get me. Because it's a complex journey that you're trying to take me on, right? And it offers a snapshot of an estimated 0.08% of a supply chain. What's the supply chain got to do with this, right? You haven't explained to me what the problem is. So straight away, you're now telling me why we still have a problem that I don't understand. I'm lost, okay? It's ubiquitous. 70% of businesses have slavery in their business network. And there's a reference there, Holt Uni ETI. I don't know who Holt Uni are, and I don't know who ETI are. And it's the only point on this whole slide that has a reference. So straight away I'm thinking, well, don't you have references for the other? Either you have references or you don't. And my recommendation is you don't, and you put the references at the back on a bibliography on the end of the slide. It's increasing. Every person rescued is replaced by more. It's consequence free. These are important things. I get these things. But there's pictures. I'm trying to interpret what the pictures mean. There are no sanctions on businesses with slavery. It's hard, it's complex, it's entrenched, systemic problem. So you're still trying to teach me about the problem, but I'm already a bit lost, okay? And then we've got some little statement at the bottom, you can't remove an ocean by blocking a few rivers. Okay, I don't really know what that means. Okay, so maybe I'm a bit thick, but you're not taking me through some journey here that I've got a really understanding of the scale of this problem. And that's all I want at this stage. At this stage of the presentation, I need to understand what this is about. And we're actually now getting into why we still have it. I haven't understood the problem yet. Let's go on. The next slide. Every day you touch slavery as often as you touch your face. it just comes a bit of across as a bit of a cliche for me. I think it's okay, but look, the whole slide's covered in pictures. There's fish. I can see lots of African people, it seems, dark-skinned people. There's a white person with a belt on. There's a black person with a phone. They're quite small, the images. I'm having to, I'm a bit blind. I've got to get my class. I'm like, what does it mean? There's a coffee. And I guess the message is, and it says here, from your iPhone to your morning coffee to your belt and shoes to your fish and tomatoes. So there's slavery in all of those products. So not a bad message, but understand that there's a whole lot of images there that I don't understand, and you haven't really established for me how there's slavery in those. You haven't established that. You're just telling me, and I'm having to take you on your word. But I don't want to do that. I'd rather have you have presented me with more compelling information at this stage, that I've got it, that I've actually got what you're trying to tell me. And at this stage, I'm lost, because I was lost on slide 2. Okay, now I'm getting more lost. And then we've got a slide, every dot, single dot country. So it's coming across as quite dramatic, which is fair enough because it's a dramatic problem. But remember, I'm confused. There's no slavery in Greenland, or it's not ranked. We've got this complex map. I've got to look at it. I've got to, okay, where's my country? Okay, in Australia, there's less than 1. What does that mean? Oh, 1 per 1,000 population. So that's good. But I'm starting to having to dive into, again, a world map, a complex map. And I think there's a place for maps like this, but when I'm already confused and a bit bedazzled by all the photographs and the text I've seen, I'm still lost. You're not resurrecting, you're not saving me. You're not getting me out of the confusion that I was in. Next slide. And by this stage, when David, the Chief Operating Officer of Slave Free Trade, was going through this slide the other day, I'd already made these comments. We were on a call, and I got to this slide and I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I do not know what this slide is about. And I mean, we're up to slide 7 now. I have been confused to this point, but now I'm shutting down the computer. I haven't got time. Remember, I've got 10,000 people knocking at my door asking me for my scarce amount of money to help them for their idea. And on slide 7, and I probably haven't checked. I think there's, I don't know, 19 slides or 20 slides. I can't remember, but I'm like, I've got no idea what you're talking about. Slide 7. Do you see the problem? Okay. I know that this is a great organisation with a great mission, absolute passion. They're doing great work. They need money to get it off the ground, and they've lost me at slide 7. So, this slide talks about your why, and it's got you in the middle, UN treaties. And there's an arrow going up. They've all got arrows going up. What's the arrow about? I don't know. I guess it means these things are increasing, but I'm having to guess, right? Human rights due diligence laws, modern slavery acts, sustainable public procurement, directors' liability, supply chain risk. Well, that's a big arrow. That's a bigger arrow than the others. Investigative journalism, impact investing. So I guess this means that those things are having some impact, and I'm in the middle. I'm my business, I guess, or this is where I really got lost. I really got lost here because I thought this was a deck that was being sent to people to ask them for investment in the organisation, and so I'm a philanthropist, and suddenly it's saying you. So hold on. This struck me straight away as being a slide that's directed to a business that Slave Free Trade is trying to convince to take action. So straight away when I'm looking at this, the purpose of the slide deck is confounded. Because when they told me that they were sending me this, my understanding was it was a slide deck for potential investors. And now, as a potential investor, I'm actually trying, it's like you're trying to convince me to invest, to actually become, to use your product, to use your thing, which I don't know what it is yet. But I'm moving away from the problem, and I don't know where I am now, because I thought we were talking about the problem. Now I've got your why. So the whole purpose of the deck has gone out the window. And let me really make this point really clear. We'll make it again at the end. Is that every time you put together any presentation, you've got to be absolutely clear on who your audience is and what's the purpose, not just who your audience. but what your purpose is. Because your audience could be a group of potential investors, but you're not, maybe your purpose is not to ask them for money, it's to share them information. Because maybe you want to go to ask the specific funder, a specific funder later for money, right? So you've got to be absolutely clear, because if you're just going to give information, you will structure your deck in a certain way. If you're going to give information so that at the end you're going to give an ask, then you structure it a different way. Okay, so you must be absolutely clear on the purpose, and you take people through that journey to get to that place where they got it. They're inspired, they believe in what you're doing, and they're going, right, we're ready to give money to this. Let's ring these people up and get more information. But right now, at slide 7, it's not clear to me who this presentation's for. Because if I am a funder, if I've got my funder's hat on, I'm a rich person, or I'm a philanthropist, I'm a business who wants to invest in these things, I thought this deck was about convincing me to part with money. But actually now this deck is trying to tell me as a business leader why I should be doing something about slavery. Quite two different things.